Apologies for that. Welcome back to the action here in ILR1. As you can see, it is chucking it down. Heavy rain has greeted us here. And if you're wondering what happened to the stream, yes, a bolt of lightning from just outside the commentary box window ended the stream here in Mexico City. But thankfully we've got it back up and running just before the start of the race. So as you can see, everyone is out there on the full wet tyre. We've got Gran on pole, Zoom alongside as they all line up on the grid. Bugatti third, Francis fourth, VSR Blizzard fifth. We've got LMC Hamilton starting from sixth, CC Brain lines up seventh, Maris eighth, Calic ninth, and CSR Leon completes the top 10. We've got Lewis at the back, we've got Cliffy at the back, Lickle blocked down at the back as well. They are all fighting to come charging through the field. It is the end of the season. They're having a lot of fun down at the very back as they all line up. The final car moves into place. The former champion Lewis, as the 5 red lights are about to come on. This is round number 19 of the ILR1 PS4 season, and it is about to be go in the heavy rain high up in Mexico City, and the 5 red lights are out and we are racing. It's a good getaway from Jim. It's gone and slides off the line, and Jim will fancy his chances. Look at the McLaren of Blizzard. He started down in P5. He's already making a move towards the front. Is he going to take the lead away? Look at that. Look how late on the brakes Francis is. Surely he's going to miss the corner. Indeed he is. Jim now takes the lead, or what should be the lead, because Francis will need to give some positions back there. Blizzard had a great getaway, but in the end, it's Francis that leads, having cut the first corner by a country mile. Jim now second. Blizzard trying to go down the outside here in the heavy rain. Is he going to do it? Oh, that's beautiful driving from VSR Blizzard down at the second chicane, and has muscled his way through into Mark what you would think is a net lead with Blizzard, with Francis running way off the road.
Yes, Francis did something akin to Verstappen from 2016, completely cut the corner, and Blizzard's launch from the line was absolutely sensational. Got onto the traction, the other cars were squirming like they were driving on ice compared to him.
Yeah, absolutely, and Blizzard has flown away, but Francis has got a 1 second lead. Well, the stewards will be having a look at that as we ride on board with Gran attacking LMC Hamilton down into the braking zone, but he can't quite do it as they enter the stadium section. Still Gran tucked up behind in P5. He's dropped right down the order from his pole position, and it's another dark day for Gran to start off with. We know Gran doesn't like the damp conditions. We've seen that before this season, and it's showing its ugly head here again, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Several drivers picking up damage on lap 1, including the former champion Lewis, who's peeling off into the pits to get his wing replaced.
Well, you said it, Mark. You said these guys at the back who are quite quick are going to have to watch it. It's a difficult circuit to get round the opening lap without any trouble. As we go on board with Neo, as he goes round the outside of Leon, and that looks like a nice move, but he touches into the side of Matt. It's getting a little bit pedestrian down there. Traffic jam stuck, and that's going to allow Josh to get involved, and he pulls alongside Neo, takes the place away, and now he can line up the next car. He's going to go down the inside here on Leon, is he? Look at that. Late on the brakes goes Josh, side by side with Leon, and Leon should have the inside, but does he have the grip? Yes, just about squeezing the Force India out and takes the place. But what a battle that is going on further down through the field, Mark, isn't it?
Yeah, crazy stuff in the midfield. Luckily no damage so far. King MJ, he's actually dropped a few places, but he was challenging Licklebox for P17, nearly got past him, but Licklebox defended it well. Okay,
well, we'll keep an eye on, we'll keep Jamie watch, we'll keep an eye on that as the race goes on, but he's currently P18 at the moment as he hopes to, in his return to top flight ILR action, can pick up a strong result. Let's see what he can do. He's P18 at the moment, he's up against it, there's no doubt about that. Francis still leads, but only by half a second now. Blizzard wheeling him in. Francis showing no signs of letting anyone go after running way off the road at turn 1. Perhaps he was hit from behind. It certainly didn't seem like it from the initial views I got. No. But we'll have to go on board with VSR Blizzard because it looks like he's going to be lining up a move pretty soon. But Mark, without DRS, it can be a little bit more difficult to make overtakes, can't it, on this game?
Well, I mean, that straight is 1,200 metres, so there's plenty of slipstream, and Blizzard was getting pretty close. You know, the final corner before the straight is the most important corner on the track, without doubt. If you get your traction wrong there, then even if you've got no downforce at all, and you've got all the straight line speed in the world, it's not going to mean anything, because you're just not going to be able to accelerate in time to get away from the other car.
Yep, absolutely, a key corner, and of course if you don't make that move into the first corner, you can run down that second chicane or down towards it and make some inroads as well, as there's some more action going on further down the field. I think we've got Matt there, really close to Josh, and Josh is making some real ground at the moment, isn't he? He's flying up into 9th place he goes. That's Matt, Leon and Neo he's overtaken in the last lap or so. So Josh is absolutely flying out there, and he's gained 5 places from a starting position, the biggest gain of anyone so far. And is he showing up to be a bit of a wet weather specialist, Mark? It certainly looks like it, because he's already on the case of CC Brain.
Yeah, the car looks beautifully balanced in that Force India, so it seems to have set up really well, and I think Blizzard's going to have a go here at Francis, who's really struggling for rear traction out of the final corner.
Well, here we go, down the start-finish straight. Blizzard might be the champion, but he's got no signs of letting up in this World Championship. He wants to win even more races. It would be his 10th win of the season if he could pick it up today. Francis holds on through the first corner and will maintain that lead through turns 2 and 3, but Blizzard should be close enough again to think about a move going down towards turn 4, but I don't think he's close enough on this occasion.
No, that's not at all. He did get the power down, and Clippy and Littlebox having a nice battle for P16. Went side by side through the opening chicane, and now Little's trying to come back at Clippy, but Clippy will have the inside for the end of sector 1.
Yeah, let's go back to that action now. This could be key for later on in the race. We know how quick these drivers are, and Clippy versus Lickle. Look at this, Clippy. We know he's a master of making up places. He's made up 3 already. Littlebox has only made up the 1. He's trying to make it 2 by going past Clippy. He can't do it, and Clippy is P16, Lickle P17, and King MJJ in the background getting involved pretty soon, I would think, if they keep battling with the big guns in ILR, but not for now. He remains stuck behind in P18. But let's go back to Josh and see how he's getting on, because he's certainly been the man on the move in the last few laps of this Grand Prix, and again, as you can see, he's tucked right up behind Bugatti and CC Brain. It looks to me like Bugatti is the cork in a champagne bottle. He's really struggling for pace, isn't he?
Yes, he is backing up the pack, and I think he's going to get swamped. I think if he gets overtaken by CC Brain, it won't be long before Josh gets past as well.
And then the rest of them, look at them all, there's so many cars.
Oh, Cliffy out of shape. I mean, CC Brain, I mean.
Yep, CC Brain out of shape, and now Josh is thinking about that move down towards turn 1. Look how difficult it is without that use of the DRS. The air's thin enough in Mexico City. You're so high up above sea level that the slipstream isn't very powerful, and here comes CC Brain, VSR Josh trying to pass CC Brain. He can't do it, and CC Brain holds on, but fantastic drive off the corner for Josh, and despite a huge kick of oversteer, he is going to have a run here going down towards turn 4. Is he going to send it up the inside and hope really late? He is going to do it, asking questions of CC Brain, but Brain holds on, and the mastermind, the Brain, clings on to P8, and for now is looking pretty safe for the remainder of the lap. But I think it's time to go up to the front, because that gap is narrowing again, Mark, isn't it?
Yes, Blizzard, we've seen this so many times where he's just toying with his opponent, trying to wait for a mistake, make him use up his tyres. It's been sort of a pattern we've seen from his driving in the second half of the season. He's so quick, but he's also tactically, winning races as well, not just through raw speed. This is another example of that. He's just trying to force Francis' error, and Francis goes really deep into the final corner.
Yep, Francis is really struggling, and this is the chance. Lap 6 out of 36, 1/6 race distance, and he's on the attack. VSR Blizzard, is he going to have a look up the inside? Francis is going to have to keep his eyes peeled, because here comes the McLaren up the inside, and surely the orange car is going to breeze past Francis. Francis is not going to give up easily, but Blizzard has taken the lead away on lap number 6. Francis slides on the exit, and it could be goodbye Blizzard, and he's surely going to head off into the distance and leave Francis behind in the gloom and in the spray, Mark. Textbook stuff.
Yes, I mean, once Francis got it deep into the final corner, he had little chance. Josh just overtaking CC Brain for P8, going to get after Bugatti, but there's so much going on behind him. Matt Tebos, Lambo, Neo, Leon, all swapping position lap after lap, it seems.
Yeah, absolutely awesome stuff further down the field. Let's go to it now. Look at this. This is awesome. Look at the McLaren there as we go. The overhead shot of CSR Leon battling with Neo, the two Toro Rossos, the MK Future in there as well. But Neo is ahead at the moment. Lambo also has gained quite a bit of ground so far. Interesting to see that Lickle and Cliffy, they've really struggled to make any sort of headway, haven't they, Mark? What do you think that's down to?
Well, it's, they're just stuck in the pack, and as you say about DRS, it's tricky to overtake cars. Lickle, Cliffy have also been battling each other, two similarly paced drivers, so that's probably not helped their cause either. Already a 2-second gap from Blizzard to Francis. Interestingly, in terms of raw pace, I've been keeping an eye on the lap times. Blizzard, obviously one of the quickest here, but the second quickest driver on the track so far is Lewis W03. Even though he's had to make an early pit stop, he's already within 15 seconds off the back of the field.
Well, that'll be one to watch then. We'll need to keep an eye on that as things continue to hot up in the midfield. Actually, I was just going to go to Josh here, who's really close to Bugatti into turn one. He couldn't quite make the move. What about Lambo? He's really close to making a move into turn one as well, as the Brain, Matt and Lambo all dispute P9, 10, 11, the two Haas cars right in there. Then you've got Neo, who's been in the thick of the action so far in between the two Toro Rossos now. Leon's got himself back ahead in that particular scrap, and now was that a planned move? Was Lambo been allowed through there by Matt 32575? Near enough a phone number on the end of Matt's name, and yeah, Lambo through up into P10, and probably a planned move, Mark, because Lambo's certainly flying out there, isn't he? 5 places gained.
Well, perhaps it was a planned move, but one thing I can definitely tell you is that Lambo has some damage to the left side of his wing, because if you swap between the two Haas cars back to back, you can see that visibly. Absolutely,
good spot there, Mark. Very good spot, but even still, Lambo isn't slowing down any, is he? That's incredible. You'd expect it to be the other way around. It would be Matt with the wing damage, but no, Lambo is absolutely flying as Josh is now ahead of Bugatti as they go side by side through the stadium section, and it looks to me like Josh is ahead now. Did you see that one, Mark? I kind of missed it a little bit.
Yes, into the first part of the stadium section. Not a place you normally see an overtake, but he went for it. Bugatti went deep, and he couldn't really defend it. And Josh is now on his way. He's one of the quickest drivers on track at the moment. And, we haven't mentioned him yet, but Kalik in a very solid P6 at the moment.
Yeah, Kalik running well again. He's been doing that so often this season, as we saw Blizzard there picking up a 3-second time penalty. I'm not too sure if it's his first, but certainly not going to be the race leader for long if he keeps picking up those penalties. As I say that, he just ticks over the 3-second barrier to VSR Francis as we watch Lambo battling with the Brain. Lambo down the outside, even with that wing damage, and that is a good attempt at making a move on CC Brain, but he couldn't quite do it. And even in the heavy rain conditions, he can't dance his way around the outside of CC Brain. Now, how is Lambo doing this though, Mark? It's incredible given the wing damage he's got. It really is.
Well, in a strange way, the left wing isn't quite as important as the right wing for this section. But also, because the conditions are so horrible, it's not easy for any of them, even when they haven't got any damage. So, obviously, his wet setup, even with the damage, is really good.
Yep, absolutely. So, Lambo, will he choose to change that front wing if he would be planning coming into the pits? I doubt he would, given how well he's doing. I mean, the other question is, Mark, can you go to the end on a set of wet tyres? Is that something you could consider, or would you have to come into the pits?
No, you'd have to pit once. You couldn't do an entire race on one set of tyres. Not at this track anyway. It's quite an abrasive circuit, this one.
Okay, well that answers that question. There'll be no desperate attempts from anyone. We've got a yellow flag.
Cliffy's round.
Let's have a look at it. Let's pick it up.
Damage.
Okay, so Cliffy in trouble. Is he coming into the pits? Yes, he is. And did you see what happened?
I didn't see what happened, but he was near the likes of It's Me, Lickle Blocks, so may have had some contact, or maybe just lost the car. But I think this is an example for me of why starting where he does regularly is a gamble for me, because if you get caught up in slow midfield cars, that's what can happen. When it works, it looks sensational from the back, but when it doesn't, you're nowhere.
I tell you what, look at this, man! Incredible action here between the Haas cars and the CC Brain. Absolutely incredible. And it looks like Lambo has managed to bully his way through up into P9. CC Brain now being swamped. Look at the group of cars all battling. Leon in there, Matt, Neo as well. AMK Future joining the back of the train. It really is an enormous train of cars. And Lambo battling with CC Brain again down into the second chicane. Awesome racing between the pair. And it looks like Lambo has finally, with a little bit of aggression and a little bump to the back of CC Brain, has got himself ahead. And, it's kind of helped out Bugatti quite a bit. He's managed to break clear despite not having great pace. He's ahead, and that kind of echoes what you've just said about the quick guys starting further down, getting stuck in the midfield, and that's exactly what these guys are doing. But hats off to Lambo, another position gained, and he's up into 9th.
Yeah, I think there's going to be more of those. Liquorbox looks clearly quicker than the guys ahead. He just can't work his way through the field because there's so many cars close to each other. Speaking of quick, Josh, his pace in the rain has been absolutely brilliant. He's already obliterated that near 3-second gap to Kayanik, and he's right on the back of him.
Yep, and he's stuck 3 seconds between himself and Bugatti, so we'll keep an eye on VSR Josh, who really is looking like the real deal. Cliffy has retired from the race, in case you guys are wondering. He's the first retirement, so there will be no epic comeback through the field from him today, as CSR Leon now gets really touchy. We'll see our CC Brain, and for the second time the Brain is tapped down at that second chicane. Behind that now you've got Neo side by side with Matt, and Matt just gets to the corner first and holds on to P12. But the midfield action today has been relentless. It's brilliant to watch. And Matt P12, Neo P13, and AMK Future, who has been in the action throughout the race but barely really got his elbows out the way the other guys have. It's been quite interesting, hasn't it? Lickle as well.
Yeah, it's been very entertaining. And well, it's been a bad lap for Sal, but Josh has just overtaken in the same spot in the stadium section. But Joom has made a massive mistake in sector 2, and he's damaged his wings. He's lost P3 to Hamilton. He's coming in for a wing replacement. So the promising race for Joom has had a really bad moment for him.
It's unravelling for Joom, and I'm not looking at the moment, but thanks for that one. Joom dropping down through the order, and as you say, Josh is also gone ahead of Cali, because you continue to look at this midfield battle. Apologies for missing that one, folks. As Joom now pits, and Josh moves up into the top 5 as a result of that. And Lambo now putting a move on Bugatti, and Lambo is flying, even with that damage, is absolutely flying. Catching the Bugatti in an instant and moves up into P7. He's reckon for 10. And is he another contender for driver of the day? The likes of him, the likes of Josh, certainly look at the main contenders at the moment.
I think so, but I went back to Bugatti and he was right next to the pit wall, so I think he made some sort of mistake in the final sector, which is why suddenly Lambo's right on him, because he had like no speed on the main straight. Joom has actually come out on the inters, which I feel was a bit too early. It's still absolutely drenched track here, and Lewis got past him easily, so Lewis is still going along very nicely. If he can keep going and time the pit stop right, he could still be on for some points despite the first lap pit stop. Yeah,
absolutely. That's why I was wondering earlier on if he could go to the end, because that would be crazy. But I don't think they were doing that, as you mentioned. But it would have been really good if it was one of those racetracks where you could try something different like that, and it would have been fun and intriguing to watch. But as it is, he's still going quickly enough to perhaps pick up some points come the finish. Joom, interestingly, over the last sector or so, has lost 1.5 seconds. I think that kind of confirms the intermediate tyre is a no-go. It's lap 12 out of 36 here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez here in Mexico City, and CC Brain attacking or defending from CSR Leon, who's on the inside now. Is he going to complete that move down into turn 1? He's certainly got the drag, he's certainly got the line, but Brain really late on the brakes, and he's going to defend that so aggressively, and the German driver holds on with some strong defence there, Mark. Nice driving.
Yeah, great driving from both, but yeah, CC Brain placed the car beautifully to maintain that position, and that's given Bugatti a bit of breathing space for now. It's had a few difficult laps. Liquorbox just slowly making his way through the field, up to P12, got past AMK Future just then. Now it's got to try and get past. If he can get past this trio, then he can really start making some progress. Yep,
absolutely. Steady progress, I think, is the word for Lickle at the moment. Not setting the world alight by any means, as CC Brain and Leon continue their scrap, and it looks like Leon's got himself ahead of the Brain and up into P9. So a nice move there for CSR Leon. I have to say, it's not a day for the sombreros here in Mexico City. Mark came up into the commentary box wearing one earlier, and I just told him to get it off because of the heavy rain. Don't know why you decided to do that one, Mark, but yeah, sombrero out in use earlier on.
I think so, and obviously there's no room in this commentary box anyway, so I don't want to keep smashing you in the face with it.
Yeah, well, you guys at home you guys watching the stream can try and picture that one. But yes, that was that. There you go then. Why not have a little bit of humour from time to time in the commentary box? Yep. Thanks for taking the sombrero off. I didn't fancy missing half the race. But there you go. Cesar Leon ahead of Bugatti now, who drops to P9, and he's really starting to struggle to get out there. Bugatti, he's been holding on because of the battles behind him, but as they slowly sort themselves out behind, they're now starting to pick him off one by one, aren't they?
Yes, and one thing I've noticed, the lap times are starting to drop down, so I think we're not too far away from Inters, maybe. According to Lambo, it was supposed to be light rain conditions at the end of the race. Oh, and Brain and Littleblocks making contact there through the middle sector.
Yeah, maybe the Littleblocks is that steady orderly fashion he's had up to this point. Goodness me. I think he'd maybe be starting to get a little bit frustrated looking at the back of these cars, or looking at the back of rain lights all afternoon. But, well, I think he finally started to get a little bit frustrated and went for it, and very nearly ended the key in the Brains race. And AMK Future said thank you very much and took the place away from Lico. But, yeah, that was nearly a big crash there, Mark, wasn't it?
Yes, I think if it had been in the dry conditions, I think they would have both ended up all slower racing right now, so that gave them the chance to save themselves. So, not a great moment for both drivers, really. AMK's like, yep, thank you very much, regained some position. So Littleblocks once again stuck behind his Toro Rosso as It's Me pulls into the pits. So I think we've got some guys maybe making the gamble to Inters. I'll let you know.
Yeah, that'll be one to watch. Is It's Me going to make that call? Yeah, just a quick word on Doom again. 6, he's not really gaining at all, where he's still losing time at the moment, but it won't be far away. So it certainly looks like these guys will all want to come off their wet tyres and move on to a set of Inters. They won't want to have to fit another set of wets before doing that. So
interesting.
Go on. Is he gone for it? No? Yes?
It's Me is on the Inters, and CC Brain's gone for another set of wets. So that just shows you, I mentioned it earlier, this is quite an abrasive circuit, but CC Brain's only managed to get these tyres 14 laps before putting another set of wets on. So I think CC Brain It's Me will be a brilliant reference to see what the faster tyre is right now. Yeah,
we'll keep an eye on that delta between them. At the moment it is 1.7, so will it go up, will it go down? You know, Mark, do you think that from CC Brain kind of suggests that there could be a real possibility that these guys might have to pit really soon, or they'll run the risk of getting a puncture, given that CC Brain...
I think so. Yeah, and if you look at the maths, if CC Brain's only done 14 laps on a set of wets, and these guys come for Inters, they might even have to pit again.
Yep, absolutely. So this is going to be one to watch. It's Me, by the way, 1.9. It's going up slowly, but it's not flying up. I mean, right now, I know Martin Brundle always says it. He always says it. Be on the right tyres at the right time. But if you run the risk of getting close to a puncture in the next couple of laps, surely you take the pain and go into the Inter, Mark. Is that what you would do right now?
Well, I mean, look at it. I mean, there's not as much spray as there was, so we are definitely in Inter territory. But unlike when you're going from dry to wets, you know, the wets, they sort of handle themselves a bit better for a while. Something like Blizzard, you know, he can just wait till Ed1 pits and then come in. Yeah, Lawmans comes in. Lewis just overtook him in Sector 2, so he's up to P15. So I think we are going to see more drivers coming in for the Inters. It's Me is... How close is It's Me to CC Brain? Not very close, really. So I think we're on sort of the cusp of the window, but we're not... It's not definite either way at the moment. But that's because none of the leaders have pitted for the Inters yet. So they're the really quick drivers we've got to look out for in terms of that.
Yeah, I'd still say wets at the moment, but not by much. That's definitely the case. As Matt now gets close to Bugatti, they said that he was slowly being picked off by other drivers. And given that we've still got 19 runners in this Grand Prix as we get near the halfway point, Bugatti's hopes of points could be slipping away, but he's been really stepping up his form in recent weeks, picking up successive points finishes for a number of races. As Bugatti now racing with Matt over P9 and P10. He's still inside the points, but he's got some quick drivers behind him, doesn't he? The likes of King MJJ. No, I'm joking. The likes of Littleblocks, the likes of Lewis, the likes of Doom, who's showed his pace this weekend, although Doom and Lewis maybe struggling a little bit to get back into the points and challenge the likes of Bugatti. We'll have to keep an eye on that, as still It's Me and the CC Brain are separated by around 3.1, as Matt now on the inside. Oh, Bugatti should complete that move with ease in the braking zone, and Bugatti drops to P10 and he'll have to switch his attentions to Littleblocks, you feel. But Matt was really deep into turn 1, parks it on the apex through turn 2. That kills Bugatti's momentum a little bit and allows Littleblocks to get a little bit closer. It might still allow Bugatti to come back at Matt, although I believe he might be a little bit too far back. But it was good driving from Matt, wasn't it, Mark? Because too deep into turn 1, parked it on the apex in turn 2 and didn't allow Bugatti to fight back.
No, I mean, sometimes it's okay, especially in conditions like this, just to go deep, because the other guy is not going to have that much speed anyway, as he would normally get in dry conditions. Just want to mention though, Josh, for me, he's one of the driver of the day candidates. He's blisteringly quick in these conditions. His setup is perfect. I mean, he's going far quicker than going down Hamilton ahead. So, a podium is not out of the question for the four-cylinder driver, the way he's going.
Absolutely, one to watch, no doubt about it. He's absolutely flying, and not too far away from making a move as we look at Bugatti really starting to struggle. Look at that, Little and AMK Future right behind him now on lap 17 out of 36. We're almost at the halfway stage of this Mexican Grand Prix. The track is dry and we started in full wet conditions. It's moving towards the intermediate tyre. It's still not quite there. It's lost another half second in the last lap to the wet runner of CC Brain, but there's a big chance that could become Inters very soon, as Lickle now fancies a look at Bugatti. He's going to go down the outside of Bugatti now. He switches to the inside. Is he going to make that move? Bugatti desperately clinging on to the final World Championship point, but surely he won't be able to hold on for much longer as Blizzard picks up another time penalty. He's some 12 seconds ahead at the front though, as Lickle goes side by side with Bugatti. It's great defensive driving from Bugatti, who tries to cling on, and he's doing a great job of clinging on. Still, Lickle tries and fails to get through on Bugatti, who defends admirably, Mark.
Yeah, fair play to Bugatti. He wants this point badly. He went so many races as he's about getting it, and he's actually on a decent run of point scores. He's actually on, if he could get a point here, it'd be his 5th point score in a row. But Lickle trying to go around the outside.
That was close. That was very, very close. That was on board with Lickle blocks there, trying the move there, and it nearly collided. And now is that AMK Future fancying a run on the back of the Ferrari? He sure is there now. So will the Toro Rosso get involved and spoil Lickle blocks' day as he tries to get into the points? It's taking him half the race to get there. There's been races this season where it's taken 3 laps to get there. It's been that tough to make your way through the field. Even the King Cliffy couldn't get through the field quickly enough. It's me now 4.3 behind CC Braid. It's not drying out quickly enough. What tyre will we see from Bugatti as he comes into the pits? As finally Lickle blocks is free into the P10 with AMK right behind him. But the big question here is Josh, as you mentioned earlier, Mark. Look at him now, right behind Goranen.
Yeah. Blizzard is the quickest driver on track at the moment. Only Josh and Lewis are actually close to his pace in the West at the moment. So it just shows you how great a job Josh is doing at the moment. His best result of the season was a 4th place last time out in the US. So perhaps this shouldn't be so surprising given he got nearly on the podium there. But if he could get on the podium here, it'd be thoroughly deserved.
If he can keep this pace up, Mark, is he perhaps one of the drivers in the remaining 2 races after this one that could pick up the surprise win that we were maybe hoping for?
Maybe, but I think that would depend on Blizzard getting far more penalties or just bending it into the wall like he almost did at Singapore.
Well, he certainly did do it just beyond the finish line. We needed ILR checkered flag, or what was it, finish line technology to decide that one. Of course, we've got goal line technology in football these days. Well, we needed finish line technology to decide that one when we looked back on the replays, as Josh is now under threat, or sorry, Goranen's under threat from Josh. Is Josh going to dive up the inside into turn 1? He certainly has a look. Goranen leaves plenty of space, breaks that a little bit later, and on the switchback, surely Josh is going to make this move. He's positioned the car beautifully there. He's second guessed what Goranen was going to do, and he's now alongside the Ferrari as they run down towards that second chicane. Still Goranen though, keeping his foot in, holding on to that position. Josh round the outside now of Goranen, and that was a beautiful move from the Force India to go ahead of Goranen, swooping round the outside. Goranen made it difficult, but Josh made it stick and moves up into 4th place. Tidy stuff.
Yeah, that was the move of the race so far, no question about it. Goranen, to his credit, really defended that as much as he could, as fairly as he could, but just didn't have the grip to defend against Josh, who placed the car beautifully from the opening chicane of the lap. And someone's gone off ahead. Hamilton's gone off, he's damaged his wing.
Oh, yep, so he has, and he's going to go straight on.
Oh no!
Oh, into the wall. Well, I think he tried to get it stopped. Well, I'm not sure if he did, but whatever he did, he's gone off into the wall and ruined what was a fine afternoon for the Northern Irishman. And into the wall he goes. No sign of a safety car, but that's certainly a position where you'd maybe expect to see one, Mark, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And goodness me, Josh already has 2 seconds on Gran. Gran doesn't seem to have any tyres left whatsoever. I watched his traction coming out of the final corner. It just had non-existent grip there. So Josh has really looked after us. And don't forget, Josh started a lot further down the field. He's had to battle through some cars. So the fact that he's still got plenty of tyres left seemingly as the track sort of starts to dry a little bit, it's really amazing.
Yeah, he's flying. He's absolutely flying. And as you say, given where he's came from in the race, to keep his tyres in the window is incredible. I think it's probably testament to his setup, given how he's doing it. And up now into P3 on the racetrack. Special mention for King NJJ, who's finally come into the pits, and he's fitted intermediate tyres. Is it time though for the winter? There's Neo and Lorman's debate last place. Will now be second last because King NJJ is in the pits. And who's going to win that particular battle side by side down a turn one? In fact, King NJJ's come out just in front of those two, so not quite in last place yet is Jenny, and Neo goes up the inside of Lorman's, takes 17th place away in that particular battle. But is it time for the inters? Let's keep an eye on Lambo versus the Brain, because that's wet tyres against intermediate tyres. And remember, the Brain is on 6th lap old wet, Lambo's on fresh inter, so this could be one to watch, couldn't it?
Yes, a lot of them pitted at the same time and some pitted previous laps, so a lot of the cars who've been battling in this huge midfield squabble all came out together basically. Lickles finally got past Bugatti up to P12, but finds himself somewhere behind Lambo actually. So must have had a, not the best outlap.
Here comes Lambo on the inside now of CC Brain, and he puts those intermediate tyres to good use. And is that a sign that it is time to change the tyres? Calic, after 20 laps, has now come into the pit and fitted a set of intermediate tyres. It's been a solid race so far from the Finnish driver, as Lambo is now ahead of the Brain. But look at the battle behind it, as you mentioned a moment ago, really shaping up between the likes of Lickle, Bugatti and It's Me and AMK Future. A real scrap developing there. Calic has rejoined the race in a solid P9. That will be better than that when some of the cars who are behind him on the road pit. So things looking strong for him. Josh looking good for a potential podium as well, as It's Me has a look at Bugatti down towards turn one. Is he going to send this up the inside? He tries to. Slides a little bit, and there comes AMK up the inside out of nowhere, bundles his way alongside, forces the Force India wide and takes 14th place away. 1 minute It's Me, he's looking at making a move, next minute he's lost a place, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely, and Neo's just spun it at the opening chicane, or is that contact with someone? He's now well behind in P18, so only 2 retirements, 18 drivers running at the moment. I think Josh, for him, I think that's exactly what he's done. He's been waiting for the leaders to make the call, because that's a safer move to do. Because he's battling Francis now for the podium, so he's coming to going down pits as well. And I think Leon, I think we'll see a few more. Maybe Matt Tebos, maybe Lewis will decide to come to it as well. Lizard, obviously, he can pick any time he likes.
Yep. Blizzard carrying on his way as the pit stops are made. Goranen is in, and is Leon, and is Josh. Where are they all going to re-emerge in this Grand Prix? It looks like they're all going to re-emerge well ahead of that group of cars, much further behind them. Calic's going to be behind them, although he's going to rejoin. Well, Calic's going to be P7. Where is Leon going to be? He's ahead of the group. Is Lewis going to be in the group? That's the big question. I think he is going to be in the group.
Yes, he will.
Yep, as they come across the start-finish line, and now MK Future is lining up a move on Bugatti. Lewis is kind of at the tail of that group at the moment, and AMK Future on the outside actually of Bugatti. Is he going to get that move completed? Look how late on the brakes these two are, and Bugatti, great defensive work, holds on to that position, and AMK Future will have to try again. But Bugatti for all the while looks second favourite in that battle, and it might now be shown as second favourite, because here becomes AMK Future down the outside of Bugatti. Can Bugatti break late again? Can he hold on to that place? It looks like he can, Great defending again. The rubbing wheels down through the second chicane, and AMK Future finally gets through. Bugatti trying everything in his power to keep him behind. Great racing, aggressive stuff from the pair, but Bugatti finally has to yield and needs to focus now on It's Me behind.
Yeah, so I have to feel for CC Brain. He's in complete no man's land now, because it's into conditions now and he's dropping well off. He'll have to pit again surely, otherwise he'll have no chance of getting onto the points. It's going to be fun to watch Lewis. He's really put himself back in contention to get back into the points here, with very fresh inter tyres compared to everyone else. So he's got to try and get past the likes of It's Me, Bugatti and MK Future.
Yeah, you feel that's going to make or break his race, don't you? Given that there's a bit of a queue, there's a bit of a gap of around 4 seconds, 5 seconds to the next couple. Well, as I say that, CC Brain and Matt have come in, so will that move at Lewis to within striking distance of the points now? It should do it as they cross the line, and that's him now in P14, and CC Brain dropping right down to the foot of the field. It's not been a good day for Renault, has it? I mean, to be fair to King MJG, given the tier he races in, this is a solid performance from someone that is 5 tiers higher than where he should be here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's still running. You know, he still has half a chance in points if a few drivers trip up.
Yeah, exactly.
He's doing it. He's surviving, and that's all you can do in a race like this sometimes.
Yeah, just a shame for him that he's dropped off the tail of that group they were battling, because that was a real opportunity for him if he could stay in that group to maybe score a point or two. But the way they're going at the moment, he might still get there, as It's Me's been frustrated by Bugatti and has now been forced into the clutches of Lewis as they try to get through on Bugatti, and the two Red Bulls working together to deal with the Force India. It's Me 13th, Lewis 14th. The midfield reaction has been the highlight of today's race without the shadow of a doubt. Do you think June can get to the end, Mark? I mean, that would be a full-on 25 laps if he should. Hold on, there's Lewis on the inside of the stadium section. We've seen him move here earlier in the race. We're nearly seeing it again. He can't quite do it, and it looks like It's Me's going to hold on. But yeah, quickly, do you think June can get to the end?
Well, he's just allowed his teammate to get past. He's got a chance, but he's not going to have pretty much anything left. So I think he's in a position where he's going to have to try and gamble, get to the end and try and nick a point.
Yep, absolutely. And nicking a place is Lewis on the inside of It's Me down into turn 1, and well, he can be a rear gunner for Bugatti for a few moments before passing him, because I don't think Lewis will take too long to get through on Bugatti, it has to be said. And straight into the slipstream he goes behind Bugatti, and he's going to dive up the inside into the corner. Bugatti not even fighting it in the slightest. Clever decision there, and he can again focus on It's Me behind him. But King MJG slowly catching them. 8/10 on the last lap as they're busy battling, but too little too late in terms of getting any points, I think, for Jamie. But it's still been a strong performance from him. We're now 11 laps from the end of the Grand Prix. There's a quick look at the position change. Josh has gained 11 places so far today. Lickleblocks has gained 9. Lambo's gained 7. Lewis has gained 8. They're the big movers in the field. But at the moment, you've got to say it's VSR Josh that's driving the day, isn't it? And he's got a real chance, Mark, of getting to Francis if he keeps up his pace.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's about half a second quicker than Francis in that last lap, although the lap before slightly slower. So it may be a bit of a sort of a stalemate between those two. They keep exchanging lap times like that. Gran, despite the fresh tyres, isn't really able to match Josh's pace, so he may have to settle for P4. Kalik, really solid P5 again. He's had he was always sort of, nowhere near early on in the season. He only scored points once in the first 6 races, but then it's really come alive in the second half of the season with some really solid point scores.
Yep, absolutely, no doubt about it. Really strong results as Josh gets to within 4.5 seconds, but it's a stalemate, as you say, at the moment. Gone in. What about Gone in 4th position? It's kind of another afternoon of what might have been. And I think if it was dry conditions, he'd have fancied his chances of taking the race to Blizzard. As CC Brain now retired from the race. He's the 4th retirement, joining Neo and LMC Hamilton and Cliffy on the sidelines. But gone in another race that might have been for him if it was dry. Maybe could have been his day, as Leon now and June do battle. We said June would be struggling with tyre life towards the end of the race. He's having to concede a position somewhere you would not expect it. Look at this. Through the Penaltaro they go, and side by side, and it looks like Leon has got the jump. And is that June bailing for the pits? I think it was. Yes. And he's realised that it just isn't going to work, and any hope of points I think could be out the window for June, who had been having a solid weekend up till now.
Yes, well, he had a great qualifying session, but the thing with any wet race is, trying to stretch those first tyres as far as you can until the switch over, and then you can have good tyre life at the end, so you can still only have to do 1 stop. It hasn't worked out for like Jim and CC Rain, because they've had to make 2 stops. So puts Lewis within with a first lap pit stop for a wing change within 1 place of the points.
There's Lambo now and Leon debate P. Look at this. This is awesome stuff between them. Lambo on the inside of Leon. He's got the grip. He's got the pace. Leon trying to fend it off. He couldn't do it. And Lambo now up into the top sector. Now I'm interested to see, has Lambo still got that wing damage? No, he did replace the wing. So there you go. P6 for him. And just much like Josh, making some real headway. How many positions does that gain for him now? That must be similar to Josh, if not the same as Josh. Let's have a little look. 10 gain now. No, 9 gain for Lambo. And Lico now moving into the top 10 as well. But still, on lap 27, Lewis hasn't made it into the points. But can he do it and pass the MK Future in the remaining laps? You'd probably put your money on it and say yes.
Yeah, I think so. He's far quicker than AMK at the moment. AMK's had an interesting race. He's been caught up in a lot of the battling, and he's given as good as he's got. But, defending from one of the former champions, it's going to be a bigger test for him, especially as he doesn't have a car ahead to get the toe off from.
Absolutely. So we'll keep an eye on that one. That's certainly going to be one battle to watch in the remaining 9 laps or so. Another one is what develops between Lambo and Leon on this lap. We've seen them scrapping on the previous lap. Are they going to be doing it again as they run down towards that second chicane? It doesn't look like it. And Lambo is holding on ahead of Leon at the moment. I think the other battle we spoke about was Josh versus Francis. I mean, the gap's coming down still, under 4 seconds now, but is it coming down quickly enough, Mark? Probably not.
No, I don't think so. One of the close battles is June versus King MJ right now.
Oh, well, let's go to that. That looks like a one to watch. June on the fresher tyres. Jamie doing everything he can to hold him off. The ILR 5 or 6 driver, I'm not too sure which tier. Sorry, Jamie, I should know. But fighting against June, who is a race winner in this tier, and that's what Jamie will be going back into the ILR 5 group chat saying, I was driving against an ILR 1 race winner. I was beating an ILR 1 race winner this season. I'm the man. That's what he'll be saying. But he holds on for now and keeps June behind, but surely not for too much longer, Mark, because of course June, 6 lap fresher tyres and the quicker driver should be able to find a way through quite quickly. But Jamie will fight it, won't he?
Oh yeah, of course he will. I think any racing guy, it doesn't matter if you're P14 on P2 at this stage of the race where there's no more pit stops, strategy goes out the window. You've got to fight for every position. So you never know what happens. There is still potentially time for a lane safety car, so they've got to keep their wits about them in that respect.
Well, here we go. Jamie versus Jim as they run down towards the braking zone. A titanic clash as Jamie returns to ILR1, believe it or not, disaster class himself, fighting with Jim and holding on at the moment against an ILR1 race winner. But now Jamie's under pressure. Jim is right in the slipstream behind him, and here comes the Alfa Romeo Sauber. He's going to switch to the outside. Jamie's not yet in last place. He's in second last now because Jim's on the inside. Jamie tries to defend. He's going to try and go round the outside and cling on to this position, but Jim is surely up and into the position as Jamie still fights it round the outside. He goes, but Jim is through up into 14th. Jamie down to 15th, and there is a potential here that I will be sending a wooden spoon over to Jamie in Arizona, in the desert, or Utah, or wherever it is he stays. Utah, I'm sure it is, because he could be heading for last place, Mark, couldn't he?
It could be. It's going to be a very wet wooden spoon, judging by this race. But don't know if you caught it, but Joom had a massive moment out of the S-bends, nearly lost it completely. I think that's where he made the mistake previously when he damaged his wing, but he just about caught it in fine style, but not particularly quick way of veering around this track, has to be said.
Nope, not at all, and he does get the job done crucially ahead of Jamie on lap now 29 and 36. Can Jamie hold off Lormans and secure himself from collecting a wooden spoon? A wet wooden spoon, as you say, Mark. But let's go now to Lewis, who is really seriously threatening that final points pay position. And there it is, he's down the inside of AMK Future. Good timing to go to the move. And the world champion of last season takes the final point. It's taken a long time. I think a lot of the drivers, Mark, didn't realise just how difficult it was going to be to make their way through the field today. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah, I think so. But I think it's always the case in wet races because, you know, you don't have the DRS and everyone's going so much slower, so it's not building up the toe as you would at full speed. You do often get these kind of races where you get clumped behind a slower moving car, and that's why qualifying is, for me, so important, especially when you know it's going to be a wet race. And getting that setup right, it's always difficult to set up for a wet race like this, especially at a track like this where you need to have less downforce so you can get the overtakes on the main straight.
Yep, absolutely. And well, maybe next time Cliffy and the like won't be doing it on a racetrack like this, or when the weather's going to be wet. But you know, you can never deny Cliffy doing it, because if he can win from 14th in Monaco, he can do it anywhere, can't he? That's the thing. That's the thing. Cliffy just loves racing. He just loves battling through the field. I mean, you've got to respect him for the fact that he just likes to compete and have fun as opposed to winning. And you know, for me and for most people, Mark, the fun comes from winning, doesn't it? Not from everything else. But to be fair to him, the battling can be fun too, and we enjoy watching it. So it's great to see, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, as someone who does league race personally, I've had some of my best ever battles fighting for P5 or P6. You know, yes, it's great to win a race, but honestly, if you have a race where everyone picks the wrong strategy and you end up 30 seconds ahead, it's pretty boring, to be honest. You just have to keep concentrating and don't bottle it, which thankfully I've never done from a winning position. So, although admittedly, very rarely do I get in that position in the first place.
Yeah, well, that's why we're in the commentary box, isn't that right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, what would you prefer? What do you prefer, winning, or do you prefer the big battles? What makes you put a smile on your face?
Definitely the battling, for sure. I mean, I'm like Clippy as well. I mean, I don't qualify down there on purpose, but if I have a bad quality session and I'm having to recover the position and get back to the points, it's a very satisfying feeling when you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Clippy, I'm sure, will feel extremely satisfied with his efforts this season and some of his comeback drives, some of the greatest drives they've seen. But we're now on that 31 out of 36. BSR Blizzard, 20 seconds up the road from BSR Francis. This is arguably his most dominant display this season, as Lewis now makes the move up the inside of Matt, and that should be candy for my baby. Is it P9? Yes, he doubles his points tally for the race from 1 point to 2 points and takes the position away. But we're seeing that Blizzard, as he pumps in a brand new fastest lap, we're saying that it's been his most dominant display. I mean, in terms of lap time, in terms of the interval, it probably is, but given his main rival started further down the field, it's you know, kind of predictable that he would dominate, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, as soon as he made that mega start, I knew he'd got the setup spot on, which, to be honest, isn't really that surprising. He's had very few poor races this season. You know, he's had one retirement the entire season. He finished 17th at Bahrain. But every time he's had a bad race, he's instantly bounced back. So when he retired at Bahrain, he won 3 in a row after that. When he retired at Canada, he was on the podium 4 times in a row, including 2 wins. Then he finished 8th at Hungary and won immediately. And then he was 4th at Japan and he won at the USA. So his sort of mental strength to come back from any small setbacks, that's what's given him that dominant position, because all the other drivers who have had great results, they tend to have followed it up with something not so good and then taken a couple more races to get back onto the podium. Yeah,
I think you make a very good point there, Mark. Absolutely, he just bounces back straight away, any setback, and that's why he's the great champion he is, and could be a multiple world champion in the future, the way he takes to the track and bounces back from those errors. So it's certainly going to be one to watch, and he's totally dominated this championship. As you mentioned earlier, 9 wins out of the 18 races. It's now going to be 10 wins out of 19, which is over half of the races so far this season. We spoke earlier on at the very start of the season. We didn't know what way the championship was going to go after 3 or 4 rounds, but it looked like there wasn't any pattern to it. But very quickly, Blizzard established control and took the championship by storm. And you know, disappointing for us as neutrals that we didn't have a better battle, but we can't discount just how strong Blizzard's been. It's been a magnificent performance, and on that 33 out of 36, he's on his way to a 10th win of the season. Just having a look now, Mark, I think it's probably around about now we could maybe decide our driver of the day. We've got Josh up 11, Lambo up 10, Little and Lewis up 10 and 11. Quite a few position changes being made, but surely it's Josh with that big gain, isn't it?
Yes, well, it's going to be his first podium of the season. It's VSR domination here. We got 4 VSR drivers in the top 5. So, yeah, Josh without doubt He's had great pace in the wet. He's made great overtakes, including the best move of the race that we saw not that long ago, and from outside the top 10 as well. So his first podium of the season, definitely driver of the day for me.
Yep, I don't think many people could argue with that. If you do argue with it, let us know in the comments section. We want to hear what you guys think your driver of the day is for today. But no doubt about it, Josh is getting all the votes up here in the commentary box, as we have 3 laps now from the finish. Is there anywhere else on track you could see a potential move being made, or are we in a bit of a stalemate here, Mark? What do we think? Callett and Leon?
I think we're in for a grandstand finish in the battle for P15, because Lormans is now within a second of Jamie.
Oh, the wooden spoon. Who is going to get the wooden spoon then? That is the battle. Keep an eye on. If Jamie picks up the wooden spoon, I'm not going to lie, I'm going to let him know about it, no doubt about it. And he's going to be getting 1 cent straight to Utah. Should he pick up P16 in this race, as AZR Lormans wants to put him under a little bit of pressure. The tin pot Brit's in trouble. King MJJ in 15th with Lormans tucked behind him. It's me not too far up the road actually. And is It's me actually slowing down to join the battle? No, he's only 1.2 up the road. Is It's me? I thought it was 4 seconds there. I don't know what was going through my mind, but certainly closing up in that particular battle. But Lorman's not close enough, and Jamie with a little bit of second wind, and is actually starting to gain on the car in front, as Bugatti and Zoom doing battle, it would seem, over P12 and 13, so a battle there as well, Mark.
Yes, it's a case of what might have been. Oh, Zoom again. He's really struggled with understeer the whole race, actually. He nearly went off again. But he just about saves it, not for the first time, trying to get past Bugatti. And just want to mention, it's hardly going to matter, considering the Constructors' Championship was probably realistically over at least 7 races ago, even before mathematically being done. But as it stands, Ferrari are going to be moving up to second in the Constructors' Championship, with both Mercedes out of the points and both Ferraris in the points. There was a point gap between them before this race.
Yep, so that's still plenty of competition going on, as Jim again running really wide. They're making a mistake, but I want to go back to Jamie, who all of a sudden, presumably having heard about the potential for getting a wooden spoon, has got a move on and now is closer to It's Me than Lormans is to him. So Jamie putting the foot down in the closing moments, Mark.
Absolutely is. Trying to do Renault proud.
He's doing more than CC
Coming
Brain.
in for TGG Pose, had some impressive performances at times this season. It's not going to be for points, but if you can get an overtake done, and what's It's Me, an awful exit. This is a chance for an overtake.
Well, here you go then. He's not had much to shout about all afternoon. I threatened that he might be getting 16th in the wooden spoon for last place, but all of a sudden he's got to move on. He's going down the outside of It's Me as the ILR5 driver. And look at this. He's going round the outside and making it stick. King MJJ moves ahead of It's Me, and they're going wild down in the Renault garage as It's Me is really struggling. Has he got a problem? Yeah, I think he's got a puncture. So the only reason Jamie's passed him is because It's Me's got a puncture, Mark.
Maybe, yeah, he has. Looks like he's got a puncture. I can't tell because the spray makes it look like it's normal running. But yeah, he's got a major problem of forcing. Yeah, so contrasting fortunes. Yeah, definitely a puncture. Just half spins it. So I think that would explain his awful exit out of the final corner. But fair play to King. You know, he's got the strategy right to get that P14 today.
Yep, P14 for him. No points, unfortunately, but there's no doubt about it. He's driven really well, and only around 20 seconds off the tail of the points. Not even that, actually. Around 17 seconds or so away from a World Championship point. Oh no, it is more than that. As Jamie's now ahead of Jim. What's happened to Jim?
He's crashed again.
Oh dear. Mistake for June, but we need to go to Blizzard, who's coming into the stadium section now. Everyone rise to their feet. They're on their feet. They know a good driver when they see him here in Mexico. And for the 10th time this season, after 19 rounds, the world champion is going to collect yet another victory. 22.5 seconds clear of Francis. It's VSR Blizzard on top here in Mexico City, and by a long way, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to give him credit. He's won the championship, yet he's still laser focused on picking up these race wins. It's been absolute class of the field today.
Yep, as It's Me is really struggling for the line. He's going to come home last. Francis second. Oh no, Josh gets second due to the penalties picked up by Francis. So there you go. What a way. What a result that is for Josh. What a result. Gonanen fourth. Lambo gets fourth from Gonanen due to penalties. So Lambo fourth. What a drive from him. Kalik now takes the fourth place away, equaling his best result of the season. So the penalties really starting to shake the field up. Lewis over the line ahead of Lickle. And Matt is going to lose the final point to AMK Future in 10th place. And
and the King and Bugatti have come together in Sector 3. What on earth?
Well, they've come together. Well, debating P12, and Jamie now is going to take the P12 away from Bugatti in what was looking like 14th. 1 minute I was talking about the wooden spoon. He's now up in 12th place. Goodness me, what a finish for Jamie. Decent effort.
I think Bugatti may have a puncher as well, maybe. Yeah, he's got a puncher as well, so I think that's why they came together. So Bugatti crossing the line in P14, so his points run is finished.
Yeah, well, an interesting end to the race. A few drivers suffering with punctures in the closing moments. Hats off to Jamie coming up 12th, but a big hats off to VSR Josh in second, and Lambo, I think, gained a lot of ground at the end there as well. But it is that man again. Look at that. He's on the top step of the podium. VSR Blizzard for the 10th time out of 19 races as the winner here in Mexico City. He wins ahead of Josh with a driver of the day performance. His first podium of the season. Really enjoyed those damp conditions in second place. And Francis came home in third. It was an enjoyable race. It was plenty of action, particularly in the first half in the midfield. And it was good watching the cars come through, but it was Josh that got our driver of the day with that second place. VSR Blizzard was the winner, Francis third. Kalik was up into fourth place at the end of the race, equaling his best result of the season so far. 10 places gained for VSR Lambo. He started 15th and climbed up into 5th. Gonanen started from pole, hates the rain, it showed again. He was 6th. Leon comes home in 7th. Lewis from the very back brought it home in P8. He'd have been looking to gain a little bit more, as would Little Blocks from 18th and 9th. AMK Future rounds out the top 10. Outside the World Championship points, Matt Tibos 11th. Disappointing day for him. The Israeli King MJJ comes home in 12th position after starting 17th. A good day for the ILR5 driver, it has to be said. He's not disgraced himself at all. Bugatti 13th after that late puncture. Ends the points run, as you said, Mark. Lorman's 14th and Doom 15th. After a great front row start, it went wrong for him. It's Me, the final finisher, a lap down with a puncture. Out of the race, CC Brain, Neo 1993, LMC Hamilton and VRT Cliffy. That rounds off the Mexican Grand Prix. Let's try and get the guys in for interview and let's hear what they've got to say, Mark, because a good race, wasn't it? Okay, well, I've got Francis on my friends list and I'll add to him now. Let's hopefully get them in here for interview. But next up, we do head, I believe, to Brazil for the penultimate round of the season, Mark. Certainly a track I enjoy, one of the classics. Are you looking forward to that one as we get ready to close the season in style?
Yes, well, it's one of my favourite tracks. And, you know, it's historically some of the greatest title deciders in F1 history have taken place there, let alone races. You know, it's another short, fast and furious track like Mexico, but I think we'll see a lot more overtaken there. Indeed, the weather is very unpredictable, so we could see some more wet running as we did in Mexico today.
Yep, exactly. Well, we've got Francis joining us so far. Oh, Blizzard's here as well, I didn't even realise that. But let's have a word then with VSR Blizzard. Having won his 10th race of 19 so far this season. A phenomenal record for the world champion. Well, Blizzard, I've got to start by asking you, was that the most comfortable win so far this season?
Yeah, obviously. I think the only non-comfortable part about that race was the start, but I got a lightning launch off the start. and really that was probably my best drive since China.
So I mean, talk us through the start. I mean, you say it was the bit you were most worried about, but you absolutely flew off the line and left them all for dead. What do you put that down to? Just lightning reactions, the setup, just the gear changes. What was it?
There's definitely a setup because I had a wet setup. Me, Josh, and Lambert all had a wet setup. Fran didn't, and I'm guessing all of the other guys didn't as well.
Okay, well, I mean, I know there's not much to talk about given that you were barely involved in any action after the start, but you say it was your best performance since China. Why was that? Just because of the sheer margin of the gap, or do you feel that you were driving at your best throughout? I know you had a few penalties as well, something you'd like to brush up on, but what made it the best performance?
Probably one, because of how big the advantage was, and two, other than the penalties, it was basically a perfect drive from me, really. I was just driving on the limits the entire time. And you fast lap after fast lap in the inters as well. Okay,
well, that's fair enough. How do you feel better in the wet, or do you feel better in the dry? Have you got a preference when it comes to that kind of thing?
I feel like, compared to the rest of the field, I drive better in the wet, but depending on how I'm driving on the day, I'm more consistent in the drive because I practice in the dry more.
Okay. Going on to the next race then, briefly. Brazil. I mean, you've won 10 out of 19 races, so you're pretty good everywhere, but Brazil, is it one you enjoy, one you look forward to as we get ready to close the season?
It's not, definitely, I enjoy it much more than Mexico, but I wouldn't say it's one of my favourite tracks. It's much easier to drive than a lot of the other ones, you could say.
Okay. Well, congratulations on your win. I'm not going to keep you too long. Well done. Let's have a quick word with Francis then, who was second across the line, but due to penalties came home behind the eventual driver of the day winner, which was Josh. So, Francis, talk us through your race. A solid result, I suppose, 15 points, but I assume fractionally disappointed not to have got that second place.
Yeah, it was disappointing getting the second place. I mean, not getting the second place. Josh just had the pace over me since they decided to load the wet setup. I decided to go for the dry setup to get track position for the race. It just backfired near the end of the race.
Okay, in terms of time per lap, how much slower do you feel going on that setup as compared to the wet setup?
The setup, probably anywhere between 0.3 and half a second.
But do you still feel that you made the correct decision, given that there was a lot of quick drivers, the likes of Cliffy, the likes of Licko, the likes of Lewis? They didn't make the same progress they've done in recent races coming through from the back. So, do you think today your decision was the right one?
Yeah, I think it was the right choice. Even though I didn't get the end result, it helped me stay near the front for the start and still had a strong pace as well. So it was the right choice, I think.
And going forward then into Brazil, how do you feel about that particular track? One you enjoy or not?
It's a fun track to drive, but my pace isn't the strongest, so a bit of an unknown going into it. Maybe it aims the top 5 if everything goes well.
And do you think before the end of the season, Abu Dhabi as well coming up, can you get a win on the board?
That's the plan. Abu Dhabi's a strong track of mine, so I'll be aiming for at least a podium.
Okay, well, that'll be exciting to see. Congratulations to the both of you for getting yourselves onto the podium for the Mexican Grand Prix, round number 19 of the ILR1 PS4 Championship. Next up, as we've mentioned, as we've been speaking about, we head to Brazil, Soccer City, the sandbag style stuff down there. That is, of course, next week, usual time, 5:30 on a Sunday night. Be sure to tune in and join us for that one. Can Blizzard pick up an 11th win of the season, or will someone else finally get their chance to get a first win of the season? Be sure to join us. We'll find out next week. That's all from me tonight. Good night.